It's the Jack and Nick Horror Show.
Jesus, Howard Christ on a rubber crutch. Nick.
Hi, Jack.
Hi. How's it going, man?
It's going good. I'm surprised we both still make this show.
I'm surprised too. Do you know what today is?
Is it your birthday?
Today's my birthday.
Right.
I'm recording this show on my birthday.
You know what's going to be nice?
It's dedication. Yes.
Everybody is going to say happy birthday to you next week because nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody. It's okay. You know, I'm old, so it's okay. So what's up, Nick? What are we doing on this show tonight?
Tonight we're going to be catching up on the movies that we completely missed in our time off. We missed Neon Demon and Ghostbusters. By missed, I mean we both saw and totally want to discuss and talk about how much we liked or didn't like them. And everybody else probably wants to hear our opinions on the matter, right? Clap, home audience. Thank you. Okay, so where we've been. Jack, you've been working a lot. I had surgery at one point, and I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. I also had the flu.
You had the flu.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we got excuses like a river.
We have doctor's notes, people, if you want to read them.
I got scars, really. And, it's been hard for us to get together and do this. I did do an episode myself talking about The Purge 3, The Purge election year, which I quite enjoyed, so go listen to that. Otherwise, we really haven't had much going on. We just been, trying to get together and fucking record, and here we are. Wow, I said fucking.
That's okay.
Cursed in the show.
That's all right. You're allowed to. You know, we were going to do the horror love line thing, which was a fun thing that we thought we'd do, but we didn't even know if we were going to record today. Basically, my schedule goes from 4 a.m. till about 10 p.m. During the week. So it's kind of hard to sneak in a recording without sounding like a complete fool. I sound like a fool already, but, I don't want to sound like a blabbering. Oh, okay, I am a blabbering. Okay, Nick, let's go on with the show, shall we?
Sure. Before we start, everybody, go follow us on Twitter. I'm at New Jersey Nick. Jack is at Jacob666.
Jacob
K666. Sorry. We're on Facebook. Come check us out on YouTube. Come check us out on Twitter at Jack and Nick Show. And any place else? Tumblr. We're on Tumblr. Come follow us there. Look us up. I don't even know the page.
I don't either.
So at any rate, subscribe. Give us a review sometime for this show too. We could really use a few nice ones. Let's talk about it though. You want to talk about Neon Demon first?
Yeah, we'll do Neon Demon first.
Got it, man.
Jack and Nick.
The Neon Demon 2016. Written, directed, everything by Nicholas Winding Refn. Starring Ellie Fanning, Christina Hendricks, Keanu Reeves, Jenna Malone, and a whole bunch of other people. Let's see, we're going to go to IMDb. Why not? IMDb says, when aspiring model Jessie moves to Los Angeles, her youth and vitality are devoured by a group of beauty-obsessed women who will take any means necessary to get what she has.
That's actually the whole plot of the movie right there.
There you go. All right, next is Ghostbusters.
So, would you like to talk about Neon Demon first, Jack? Did you enjoy this movie?
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, but it has a huge but. The thing is that this is a movie that is not for everybody. We say that a lot on this show, and a lot of people say that these days. However, this movie is sort of the definition of that saying. I guess that's not really a definition, but it's one of those movies that it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. It's beautiful to look at, but it, like Nick said, that's the whole plot. And you got a good 2-hour plus movie to watch. And there are a lot of slow-moving scenes. If you're familiar with the director, let's just go right to Drive. If you're familiar with Drive, when Ryan Gosling's character is in Carey Mulligan's apartment and just standing there and there's not much going on and he's not saying much, that happens a lot in this movie. Which isn't saying it's a bad thing, it's just, it takes its time. It takes its precious time, and by the end of it, it has something to say, but it's okay, basically, there's so much to this film that I don't want to spoil, because we don't spoil on this show. But it's one of those things that if you like Mulholland Drive, but it's sort of half of what Mulholland Drive would be, where there's not too much going on. There's a lot going on, but there's not too much going on. Then this might be your cup of tea. However, it's very, very hard to say, go get this, or go rent this, or go watch this right now. You really have to be in the mood for something experimental, and I guess arty would be the only things that I could say about it. But that's all I'm going to say for now until we talk about it for a little bit. But Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I actually agree a lot. I really like Nicholas Winding Refn's movies. The ones I've seen. Drive, I completely love Drive. I think Drive is one of the best movies this decade. And all that movie's about is about a guy who kind of drives getaway cars, and it's not really a heist movie. It's not really a thriller movie. It's sometimes an action movie. Like, it's just movies that defy genre. Like, there's no way that you can just say, like, what they're making. These are completely unconventional movies. Another one that I enjoy of his is Only God Forgives. And that movie, like, I could see most people seeing that movie, and probably 95% of people would not like it. The reason I like a movie like Neon Demon or Drive or Only God Forgives is they're great overindulgent style over substance movies, and I'm like sick for that type of thing. It's you know why I enjoy Rob Zombie movies, for that matter, because they're very self-indulgent. There's no, I mean, I wouldn't compare this to a Rob Zombie movie other than that like it's a lot of style over substance. But if you give me something that's style over substance, I'm probably going to like it. I don't care. Plot can take a back seat to how cool a fucking movie is. This movie's gorgeous to look at. A lot of neon themes across its palette. Sort of reminiscent in terms of how it looks to, like, John Wick. Had a lot of coloring that was similar to this movie. A lot of that sort of retro wave inspired neons and pink pastels and stuff. It's just gorgeous to look at. The score is great. It's just a beautiful movie to behold, and that's cool to me. It's a great movie to see in theaters if you got the chance. It was only out for like a couple of days, unfortunately. Long story. We'll talk about that. But it will be coming to VOD and all that stuff soon, so it's not like we're talking about it in vain here. We're getting you hyped up for one day seeing it. The plot is hard to discuss because there's virtually nothing in this movie that's really plot. This is more about... It's a story about a girl's dangerous misadventures in L.A. She moves out to L.A. to become sort of famous or a model, and sometimes things work out for her. Sometimes she has to confront the seedy underbelly without getting swept into it. And, I mean, there's some... And then really crazy stuff also happens in this movie. Like, I'm not telling you that crazy stuff does not happen in this movie. I'm not spoiling it by saying crazy stuff happens in this movie. But if the description so far doesn't sound like a horror movie, trust me, the movie becomes a disgusting, crazy horror movie at some point. And at various points, really. There's stuff that happens in this movie that are weird. There's stuff that happens in this movie where it feels very tense, very threatening throughout.
Taboo.
Taboo. And I mean, like, if I told you the actual genre that this movie fits in, it would spoil the movie.
Yeah.
But you know,
If I were to compare this to a musical group, this would be the Sonic Youth of film.
Sure.
Because Sonic Youth, some of their songs you can really get into, and then Sonic Youth, some of their songs you're like, what am I listening to? What is this? It just sounds like not noise. What is this? That's kind of what this movie does.
See, and I mean, obviously, something does happen in this movie. There is.
Oh yeah, there is.
There's enough stuff that would make you want to come back and see it again if you like crazy, self-indulgent movies. But it
really is.
And it kind of reminds me of the quest for success from Starry Eyes. But Starry Eyes is a much richer story with lots of subtext and metaphors in it that is telling a bigger story about the American dream leading you to your own manifest destiny of going to LA and becoming famous. Whereas this movie is much more about just that the city of Los Angeles is presented like this thrashing maw that's just trying to eat this girl. Like one day there's just, bad things happening from one side to the next. I almost can't even describe any of the plot points in this, because if I describe any of them, you will be like, oh, he spoiled this scene for me, that bastard Nick. And it's really like every scene is like unpredictable. Stuff happens for no reason, other than in real life, stuff happens for no reason sometimes, and it's kind of weird and makes you think about your place in the universe. That's what Neon Demon does for you. It's
a slow descent into madness. Let's say each scene is let's just say you get a puppy, and the puppy's adorable and cute and fuzzy, and you're like, okay, I'm going to take this puppy, and I'm going to make this puppy the best in show. And that's what the Neon Demon is.
Right.
And the other dogs are jealous of that dog.
Yeah, I thought that analogy was going to be terrible when it started, but it was actually the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
And that dog that becomes best in show doesn't have a hard time with it. Like there's other movies about a Black Swan, for instance, is a good movie to compare this to.
Yeah.
Where in Black Swan, the girl slowly loses her mind as she is pushed too far and makes too much of a sacrifice. She goes over the edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, the girl completely embraces her role within the sacrifice towards success. And that's where it gets kind of weird.
And then some.
Yeah, because there's no heroes. There's a hero in this movie, but she kind of just isn't the hero, and you'll see that throughout. I'm not saying that she's bad and that she does bad things, but there's just when by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're confused about whose side you're really on and what actually just happened.
I do want to give kudos to a couple. I mean, Ellie Fanning is fantastic. She's 10 times better than her sister. Keanu Reeves, I really got to give it up to, because
Keanu Reeves is in this movie.
Yeah, he was on his way to becoming the next Nicolas Cage. The has-been actor that everybody just makes fun of or likes ironically. But he's really showing that he can act. And I've said that he can act since I saw, before, he's Keanu Reeves. But when I saw Sam Raimi's The Gift, I said, man, Keanu Reeves can really act. He should do more of that kind of stuff. And Jenna Malone, she really goes out on a limb in this movie and does some pretty crazy stuff.
What other movies is she in?
She was what's it? The Ruins, Saved.
Oh man,
remember Saved?
A Sucker Punch, apparently.
Yeah, Sucker Punch. Mm-hmm.
Sucker Punch. What a shitty movie. That's another movie that's really self-indulgent, but then it tries to make some points, and I'm just like, nope. You made these points all wrong, Zack Snyder.
That's one I really enjoyed.
That's terrible.
I know. I enjoyed the director's cut. It was just fluff. It's that type of film is.
Oh no! It's not fluff.
No, it's fluff.
If you think it's fluff, you did not read his statements on the movie. And when you read his statements about Sucker Punch and what he thinks it is, you cannot like Sucker Punch after that.
I just watched the movie, though.
If you think it's fluff, you are wrong. He made an opinion piece on film that completely gets all of his own opinions wrong.
Well, anyway, Jenna Malone is also in Hunger Games movies.
Oh.
And what was it? What is it? When she was little, she was one of those little actresses.
I'm looking. She was in the American Girl movie.
Yeah, she was in a bunch of stuff. Donnie
Darko.
Yeah,
She
Donnie
played
Darko.
Gretchen Ross.
Yeah, Life is a House. That kind of stuff. But she's really really good in this, and that's all I'm gonna say.
I felt like she was more the star or the protagonist at times.
At times, yes. She's almost like the let's call her the guardian angel.
Yeah, sure. Maybe.
She's the
at times.
Yeah. Okay. So I would recommend this only if you're in the mood for it. You know what I'm talking about.
If you're the type of person who sees the trailer for the Neon Demon, and I suggest you go watch it right now, pause the podcast, go look, and it is a very stylistic movie, and you're gonna know right away whether you go, oh my god, I have to see this movie. You're gonna feel it in the bottom of your stomach and just be like, I need this movie in my life, or you're not going to. You're gonna go, you know what? That looks like it's gonna bore the crap out of me, and if you think you're gonna be bored, just go right ahead and skip it. I don't care. I'm not judging you.
Go right to Starry Eyes.
And I mean, yeah, actually, I like Starry Eyes way better than this movie. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I don't know where it'll sit like at the end of the year when I pick my top 5. It'll probably be up there, but not my favorite movie. But I don't completely love it. I'm not saying rush out and buy it on Blu-ray, but I'm saying it's worth seeing if you like weird stuff.
One movie, it's a movie that will definitely stick with you, especially key moments in it that they won't haunt you. They just stick with you.
Right. I mean, I kind of wish we would just spoil movies on this show, but we can't in this case. You really need to see it. Maybe if you guys out there like the idea of me and Jack spoiling movies, you should probably start writing in and saying that, because we certainly could.
We can spoil the heck out of movies, but
only if they're like 30 years old do we like to right now. But
yeah.
If you want us to spoil new movies, we'll do that too.
Yeah.
At any rate,
I don't like to. I let people, see.
Well, yeah, but I like to discuss the crazy shit too. But at any rate, this movie. Now, following the success of movies like The Babadook and It Follows and a few others that had been released to theaters that otherwise were not going to be. I think The Boy was another one that was not going to be, and then it was. There's another one I'm thinking of, too, that I'm not remembering the name. Oh, The Witch. The Witch did really well in theaters. I think it made like 16 to 20 million. I say really well. That's not really a good number, but it's
better than expected.
Way better than they expected. And they kind of promoted the Neon Demon like crazy, thinking that it would do well in a wide release. I remember before the Neon Demon came out, I was seeing ads for it on YouTube before every video I was watching on YouTube, to the point that I got sick of commercials for the Neon Demon. I saw it on, websites like Bloody Disgusting would have like the banner ad and the side ad, and everything was just Neon Demon across my internet. Maybe it's because Google Ads knows exactly who I am and what I want to see. But they promoted the hell out of this movie, and it really did not do so well. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
I thought you were going on.
I'll go on.
No, it didn't. It didn't do well because people didn't know what the heck it was.
Right.
It's a movie that you don't really want to release. It's one of those things that you would put in maybe a couple theaters in New York and LA, and then a few major cities for like a week or two. And then it would turn out to be one of those movies that down the line people are like, oh yeah, well I saw it in New York when it had its first run,
right?
And then when it comes out on DVD, and then it becomes one of the those underground cult movies that everybody likes.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of horror movies that did well this summer, especially like Lights Out did better than expected with 20 million. Mm-hmm. The Purge did really well. There's another couple. The Conjuring did really well. And I feel like there's another one that I don't care about that did really well, another supernatural one or something. And it's been a good year for horror movies in terms of how much they're making. But I think for as much as horror fans say that they really want something different and that they really want something else, they kind of don't, because when like the really crazy different thing comes along, everybody just goes, "What the fuck is this?" You know?
Right.
I have this one. I remember the one review that I saw that was like absolutely atrocious was it Jezebel for some reason reviewed this movie, and the title of the review was just "Fuck the Neon Demon." Like that's the name of the article. Very professional over there at Jezebel, aren't they? If you don't know, they're sort of a feminist leaning they're a feminist leading website that felt like they were glorifying sexuality of young girls, because of course they did. But even aside from that, it sounds like they really didn't get it or really didn't care, and it was an atrocious review. Go read that article, "Fuck the Neon Demon," because it's just stupid. It was actually on the Muse through Jezebel. I don't know how Gawker works, or if it's still a thing. Why is Gawker still a thing? Anyway, there's a lot of movies.
I thought they went out of business because of Hulk.
The Hulkster? No. Hulkamania ran wild on them. I forget what I was saying, and I probably shouldn't have. But my point is, I don't think that Nicholas Winding Refn makes movies that are marketable, in quotes, which is astounding, because it's like, how do these movies get made? I guess that they just get lucky and he can make an art house movie or whatever. But on the other side of it, like, you know, they are completely different from the norm. They're completely unconventional storytelling, and I appreciate that a lot. At the same time, you could look at this movie, and if it was done like just a little bit different, this movie could be crap. But I think it's just handled so well and like so astonishing to watch unfold. It's kind of like watching a music video or a short film that isn't going to have a whole lot of plot, but you know you're really going to like watching it for those couple of minutes, you know?
Mm-hmm. I would say that. It's something that you would probably catch late at night on cable, and you just watch it, and you don't know why you're watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's over, you just can't sleep after that. I know that, what is it, Refn is, he's producing some great stuff. Well, potentially great stuff. And, one of which that he's working on is, he's producing, Maniac Cop. Right. But it's Maniac Cop as, like, a, prequel. Like, what made him the Maniac Cop, which I think is pretty cool.
Could be.
Because
I don't know.
He's obsessed with the Maniac Cop series. The guy is kind of all over the place too with what he likes. If you ever get a chance to listen to him talk, he's very full of himself, but also not. He's a very complex person, let's just say. But I don't know, I might have mentioned it on here before, but he even does commentary on Maniac Cop 2 with Bill Lustig, the director, and how much he loves Maniac Cop 2. Yeah, and it's very informative. Mm-hmm. It's a really cool thing that somebody like that you would think is up his own ass as far as filmmaking goes, has a very big respect for the horror genre. And you can tell in his latest movies, especially Neon Demon, and Only God Forgives and Drive, you could see it in there. So I would say check this out only if you're in the mood for it. That's all I can say about it, though. Nick?
Yeah, man, I'm good and I'm on board with that. I hope people watch it and actually like it, and you can totally write into us and tell us you did. But let us know.
And if you didn't, don't tell us.
Right, explain to us why, because I would like to hear differing opinions on it. I almost feel sad that one of us didn't hate it.
Well, anyway, let's find out if one of us liked or didn't like Ghostbusters.
Part 2.
So Ghostbusters, it's finally here. Ghostbusters 3. Ghostbusters the remake, sort of. Ghostbusters the reimagining. Ghostbusters 2016. It's an American supernatural horror family comedy. I don't know what genre you would put this in, but it is a movie about scientists who decide to go around fighting the supernatural in New York City. It may sound familiar because that's also the plot synopsis of the 1984 original, which is an American comedy classic, pretty much in every top 10 list of the best comedy movies ever, right? And that was a horror family comedy movie, too. It's horror-inspired, and it's definitely got horror moments. Both of them do. But this is a movie that we have promised to make a review of for the past 5 years. And we used to have our old show, Slashercast, and on like one of the very first episodes, there was news about this movie one day coming out. And me and Jack laughed and said, they'll never make Ghostbusters 3. They've been trying to make Ghostbusters 3 since 1993-ish. And this movie went through a crazy development hell. Probably one of the longest, craziest development hells of any movie that I know. In fact, originally, the movie was going to be called Ghostbusters 3, Ghostbusters Go to Hell, or something like that. I think it might have been called Ghostbusters Hell, and the plot was going to be like literally that. The original 4 Ghostbusters were like going to end up in hell fighting ghosts and stuff. They were pretty much taking the Army of Darkness route with the trilogy and making the third one just balls out insane. But it, moved on over the years. Like Bill Murray didn't want to be involved, right? What else was happening with the development of this movie? You were just recapping it before we were recording.
To sum it up, it was we're gonna make a Ghostbusters 3. Everybody is excited about it. We're not gonna make a Ghostbusters 3. Bill Murray doesn't want to do it. We're going to make a Ghostbusters 3. Bill Murray doesn't want to do it. We're doing it without him. We're doing Ghostbusters 3. Bill Murray wants to do it. We're doing Ghostbusters 3. Bill Murray talked smack on Harold Ramis's year 1. We're not going to do Ghostbusters 3. We're going to do Ghostbusters 3. Bill Murray showed up as Peter Venkman at an award show. So Ghostbusters is definitely on. It's not on anymore because that was just a fluke. He did it as a joke. He talked about it on David Letterman and he rolled his eyes. So it's definitely not going to happen because it's all on Bill Murray. It's going to happen without Bill Murray. They're going to Harold Ramis died. So now it's definitely dead. Now we're going to get Judd Apatow and all these other clowns that Apatow crowd to be the new Ghostbusters, and then Aykroyd and the remaining Ghostbusters are going to train the young Ghostbusters. That's not going to happen. It's just going to... You know what? These guys, nobody can write a good script. Screw it all. We're going to hire Paul Feig, and we're going to make the Ghostbusters girls. That's what started the backlash. Right down in there. That's when it all started.
And then the backlash got, like, way out of hand.
Way out of hand, way sexist, yeah. Because at the time, if you recall, Nick, before we get into the movie review, at the time when this it came at the worst time. Like, Ramis was dead. They had all these other ideas, and then they were like, "All right, you know what? We're just gonna make them girls." And everybody's like, "What? Where did this come from?" It came out of left field. And it's not like that's a bad thing. Hell, they could have made Ghostbuster kids, or they could have made, the Latino Ghostbusters. Who cares? You're getting a Ghostbusters movie. That's all that matters. But it just was one of those things that it felt like they were just flinging shit at a wall.
Right. I mean, initially it felt like they were. I don't know how to put it, what they were originally doing. Like, Paul Feig has said some rather controversial things over the years, like he believes no men are funny, and he's got a weird streak about him. If you look up some of the videos he's made online, like interviews with him, he'll talk about how he doesn't like men being in movies and really weird stuff that's like, how are you going to discount all of like comedy history just because, granted, at times it was overtly sexist, but are you going to tell me that like no man has ever been funny? He's got a lot of weird stuff in his skeletons in his closet, and I think that helped drive the perception that this was being done as some sort of pandering feminist move rather than just trying something different, you know? Mm-hmm. And they did not capture the narrative that they should have from a marketing standpoint to say, we're just trying something different, we're trying something new, you know? Mm-hmm. I would say, like, one of the great flaws of this movie is that they decided to completely remake it and start from zero and start from scratch instead of just working it into the existing world of the Ghostbusters. Now, the reason I say that is because there's all these different sequels to 20-year-old movies that are coming out now. It's kind of the new thing, all right? You get a lot of movies that come out that seem to pay homage to or make homages to, depending on how you like that word pronounced, the originals in their series. Look at Jurassic World taking place in the same universe as Jurassic Park, just for the hell of it, even though there's no reason they should ever make more dinosaurs after what happened in those other movies. They're just like, fuck it, we made more dinosaurs. That's the plot of Jurassic World. That's the premise, I should say. In Independence Day, which just came out, the sequel to Independence Day, after 20 years of development hell, they were like, the aliens come back. And it's the same world. It's the same place. The characters are going to return. Everything's going to be fun.
Box office bomb.
Yeah, box office bomb. But, well, it didn't... I think it actually did better than Ghostbusters so far. But the other one is... what's the other one that they did? Even movies like Godzilla seem like they could have taken place in the other universe because they make reference to things throughout. If you go and look at the Easter eggs from Godzilla, there's things that may make it take place in other Godzilla movies. Not really, but I mean, like, they throw in Mothra in one shot and stuff. Go look it up. It happened. It's an Easter egg. And it's kind of weird to take a movie and just completely remake it, especially because you have, like, super fanboys out there. And not just fanboys, but fangirls. People who, like, are way too invested in the original movies because... pretty much every movie gets remade. And I feel like it's almost inescapable at this point that, like, everything that we ever loved is just going to get remade. And maybe this was a new idea for some people, but I feel like a lot of, like, fanboys hated on the Ghostbusters movie while completely loving the idea that there was going to be a Star Wars sequel that was essentially almost a retelling of the first movie if you actually watch The Force Awakens, you know? In some ways. Not entirely. Granted, there was different stuff, but obviously the homages are so strong that it feels familiar in a way that is nostalgia-based, really. And, I mean, it's really weird to watch which movies people go, no, fuck that movie, I'm not going to watch it. A similar one as horror fans that we had to go through was Evil Dead. When Evil Dead was being remade and Bruce Campbell wasn't in it, there are people who revolted and were like, how could they make an Evil Dead without Bruce Campbell? Well,
and they were mad about the female Ash.
Right, they were mad that they made a female instead of Ash. And, I mean, this all happened before, and it'll probably happen all over again. But in Evil Dead, what happened? Go ahead and watch Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV show that's now on Starz or whatever channel, and watch Evil Dead from 2013. Which of those is honestly better? Honestly better. And more like the original Evil Dead, the first original Evil Dead. And there's no question, you know? And even that, they kind of made that a soft reboot that is actually Evil Dead 4 and takes place in the same universe, sort of. That's another one. That's like a sequel to a 20-year-old movie. But well, at any rate...
There are too many know-it-alls now, Nick. That's the issue. And as far as Ghostbusters goes, and you even mentioned on the show from a while back when you were doing the Purge, that is one of my all-time favorite movies, or my all-time favorite movie. It's the one that made me be excited about every genre, comedy, horror, all that kind of stuff.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters was, yeah. Yeah, but you mentioned it on that show.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I love that movie, but I don't make Ghostbusters my life. Like, I don't pretend to bust ghosts. I don't show up at conventions
They're literally...
in an ecto...
Oh, yeah.
I don't drink ecto cooler. I have Ghostbusters on every format.
Right.
But that's about it. Like, I don't live and breathe Ghostbusters.
Right, man. And
because it's a movie.
Right. There are literally cosplayers who do charity events dressed up as Ghostbusters and will drive their Ecto, what do you call it, Ecto ones and Ecto Cooler. They make Ecto Cooler at home. This is a thing. This is a subculture. I'm not kidding with you. Mm-hmm. Go and look it up.
It's like bronies and stuff,
Yeah, it's like bronies. But... and I mean, with this movie, I've gone on a roller coaster as the movie was coming out. Because at first I was like, this probably is never going to happen, so we don't need to worry about it. If you go back and listen to the old Slashercast episodes where this was in the news, we were just like blowing it off. Like, it'll never happen.
Right.
Then it started to happen. And my initial response was, it's probably going to suck. Because why wouldn't it suck? Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much how I felt. And then, like, years later, we move on. The trailer comes out. And the trailer for this movie was atrocious. And I sat there and said, okay, it looks really bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this movie was absolutely going to blow. I really thought it was just going to be terrible movie. Because that trailer, it plays up all the things about it that you would hate if you were a human being who watches movies. It plays up the dumb jokes, the Melissa McCarthy fall down on her butt jokes, and the racism. Like, and they make the black character in the trailer out to be just like a token black character, like terrible. You've seen her in World Star hip hop videos, for God's sake. Somebody found that funny. I hope somebody found that joke funny. Jack didn't, but
no,
somebody will.
Anyway,
No,
nobody did.
No, they just made it look like the effects weren't done in some of the shots. I noticed that when I was watching the movie, that like some of the things, the effects had been worked on. A lot of people didn't like the CGI ghosts in the trailer. I didn't have that much of a problem with it. But there was a lot of things that people didn't like, and I felt like I definitely feel like the backlash to the trailer was overblown because people weren't talking about like how it looked terrible. They were talking about just like nitpicking fanboy shit that I can't stand anymore at this point. And
then somebody had to, of course, create the fan-made trailer to do it better, and then everybody reshared that and said, this is how you should have done the trailer, Sony.
Right.
And it's
we know better than you.
Yeah, we know. And granted, they did a good job with the trailer, but it's like, man, I get so frustrated just with everybody trying to... There's a thing about Scorsese that he said that when he makes a movie, it's the audience's movie, it's no longer his. But people have turned that into, like, reality.
Oh, yeah. I was reading a Cracked article just yesterday about 3 ways that, like, fandoms are destroying their art, the art that they love. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways is they come up with predictions and fanfic about how they think a movie or whatever should go. And then when it doesn't go the way that they came up with, they complain about it. They're like, oh, it would have been better if they did it my way.
And that's the epitome of why most people don't like certain movies.
Right, but hold on. Because the other thing is, if it happens exactly the way that they said, then they say, oh, well, that was predictable.
And that's exactly what happens with it. Not even like dismiss fanboyism and everything from your brain right now. And let's say you see a trailer for a movie, you read a synopsis for a movie or a book, and you read or watch a said movie, and it turns out to be a totally different movie than what you expected. A lot of times you're going to say, that wasn't what I wanted. That sucked. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to watch it and say, well, I was The phrase that gets thrown around like pubic hair droppings is pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. And whenever I hear that, I always think somebody's just smiling and putting their hands on their belly.
Yeah,
Like,
folding their little knuckles.
I don't get pleasantly surprised. I just get entertained, you know?
Right.
I'm not saying I'm better than any fucking body, trust me.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that that's the epitome. But what happens is when people become obsessed with something and they get into the mindset that they are the biggest fan of something, and then when somebody outside of their world puts their hand in it, they get really agitated and want them to fail, rather than embracing it and saying, well, maybe this is what this thing needs. It needs this. Imagine if they made, and we're going to get to Ghostbusters, but imagine if they made it with Paul Rudd or Seth Rogen or Jonah Hill. What do you think would have happened? It would have failed at the box office. It wouldn't have done good because their time is kind of going away right now. And people would have complained and said, these aren't the regular Ghostbusters. It's just these guys improvising again. That's what would have happened.
Yeah, it's a Judd Apatow movie, not my Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It ruined my childhood and raped my childhood
Right.
and all that.
If you throw the Saturday Night Live guys in it, same thing. SNL sucks. These guys suck. This thing sucks. It's not Bill Murray. It's not... You know, it's frustrating. It's like people forget how to watch movies, where you just go and watch a movie. All they have to say is, or all they have to do is make something new and go see something new. But,
Right, and exactly, man, because like that's the other half of it is that Hollywood does manipulate, and obviously,
Oh, of course.
they don't treat the audience with respect a lot of times. So they have a part in it, the fans have a part in it, and it's all like, what does everybody actually want?
Well,
because Hollywood just wants to make money.
Yep.
People go, oh, this is just being done as a cash grab. No shit. Every movie in history, The Godfather was made to make money. You know, like Citizen Kane was made to make millions of dollars. There is no movie that you have ever seen that was not a cash grab at some level.
The difference between the two, though, is that years ago, the heads of studios were movie people. Now the heads of studios are lawyers.
Right,
and corporations and people that have no idea what movies are. Yeah, they're all about numbers and spreadsheets, exactly. And that's what it is. It's become a commercial product that they are just pumping poop out and saying, you need to see this. Consume,
Right.
consume.
Right. Obey. Now, I think we actually need to talk about the movie Ghostbusters 2016
Yes,
because
we
we've
will.
talked about every aspect.
Yes.
But I mean, every aspect of the movie does come into play when you're actually going to be talking about this movie, and it's something that this movie cannot yet be separated from.
Which sucks.
It
really sucks because, but I'm gonna get to why it doesn't suck for me. But that's what sucks about movies these days. You can't just go in cold and watch a movie. You can't. It's almost impossible because no matter what you do, if you download Facebook app, if you have Twitter, if you have all these things, you have your friends are doing all the promotion for these companies and showing you all the trailers constantly and saying, this looks amazing. This looks amazing. This actor's amazing. Everybody's amazing.
Dude, it's just like I said about Neon Demon.
Yeah.
I saw advertising for it everywhere. And when I went to go see the movie, I had already seen a lot of the movie just because it was in those advertisements and there's not much plot. So when anything would happen in the movie, I was ready for this. Pleasantly surprised. Because I was like, oh, something does happen in this movie film. How nice.
All right, let's talk about the movie.
You want to talk first? Since Ghostbusters, the original, was your favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
How did the remake move you?
I thought it was... Okay, I'll say this. It has all the worst stuff that you could possibly imagine. Terrible plot, horrible character development, bad CGI, but god damn it worked. And it's all great. I loved it. I absolutely loved the movie. I really did. I'm sorry. I really...
Who are you apologizing to?
To people that normally bitch about that stuff, it's almost like the worst things about it worked for it. The best thing in the world, and I've said this before I even set eyes on Ghostbusters, is Kate McKinnon. That girl she's like, oh my god, it's very hard to describe. If you watch SNL, the latest seasons of SNL, she's the best thing on the show. And a lot of times female comedians aren't funny. Kate McKinnon, if she just shows up and you put a camera on her, you start laughing. I start cracking up every single time I see her. But in my opinion, she kind of makes... She has the best character. And she doesn't necessarily have the best lines, but she has the best face, and she's the best... She's so entertaining to watch. Whereas Kristen Wiig and what's her name, Melissa McCarthy, are kind of like they're almost like the straight people. You know, they're just the regular characters that have some funny lines, but they're not really funny. Right. Leslie Jones is off the wall. You know, just crazy. Chris Hemsworth, fucking phenomenal in this movie. Like, funniest thing I've ever seen him in, and the best thing I've seen him in. Yeah, I think he's better in this than he is in Thor, or anything else. Because he's plays...
not in Thor.
Huh?
This is brother in Thor.
Say what?
Isn't his brother's Thor? Isn't this the brother?
No.
No? Which one's Thor? Is it him or is it brother?
Isn't it Chris Hemsworth?
Oh yeah, he's Thor.
Yeah.
I get him confused with his brother.
Isn't the other one Liam or something?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Apparently it's Thor.
But yes, I mean, the movie it's all over the place as far as plot. It just, one scene rolls into another, and they have some kind of weird characters, conflicts and stuff. And on paper, it would probably sound like the worst movie you've ever seen. And to some people, there are people out there that think this movie is terrible. But I enjoyed it completely from beginning to end. And I love the credits, too. Everything. I loved it. Nick, what did you think?
Well, as I said, for the past 5 years, I've just expected this to be either just never materializing or being complete garbage. And after 5 years of hype, really 20 years of hype, it finally came out. I saw those trailers, and I had the lowest goddamn hopes in the world going into this movie. So if you go into this movie directly after watching that trailer and just cringe a little, that's the best way to go into this movie, because I think that the fact that this movie, while not great, is watchable and moderately enjoyable, I mean, that's a miracle. It's a miracle that this movie is somewhat good and not terrible. I don't think it's my kind of movie whatsoever, because I don't like comedies. I don't like I don't like whimsical things. And this movie's very whimsical, but to say that it was a bad movie, you'd be lying, because it's not. It's just a movie. I mean, it should have been shit every way from Sunday, but it's not. And I'm astounded that it's not. That is the thing that most impresses me, is that it just didn't suck. Uh-huh. It's not as good as the originals, but it doesn't have to be. And why would you expect that? You'd be stupid if you thought it was going to be as good as those. And, you know, Ghostbusters 2 isn't that great. Sorry,
no,
kids.
It really isn't. I would actually put this above Ghostbusters 2.
I don't know if I don't know. I mean, I probably would, because it's shorter, and Ghostbusters 2 kind of drags a little. A lot of that Vigo stuff. Anyway, again, I would say it's just a really watchable, dumb summer blockbuster. It's on par with most movies that come out and are just like the thing that you pay $10 to go see because it's July on a Saturday. I didn't find it to be particularly funny. I think I only laughed out loud like once, but it really compares favorably to other horror comedies of the past couple of years that have been released in wide release, like Dark Shadows or Warm Bodies. Dark Shadows was just trash. Every joke in that movie was just completely flat. Whereas in this movie, even when they weren't really rollicking, funny jokes, it was like, oh, haha. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. I don't hate this movie whatsoever, and that is a miracle. I really thought I was going to hate this movie, but it was an all right way to spend an hour and a half. I think it's only an hour and a half, right? Yeah, it's only 116 minutes. Oh, that's almost 2 hours. Okay, fine. Almost 2 hours of runtime. It is what it is. I think that there's...
It felt like 90 minutes.
Right. And I mean, you know, granted, primarily we're a horror movie podcast. You probably understand what type of movies I actually like on a regular basis or will sit down and watch are going to be gory, messed up shit. And this is not necessarily what I watch. I don't watch modern comedies at all, but I mean, even comparing it to the modern comedies I have seen in the past couple of years, like the Grown Ups movies or like some of the Hangover movies, this is better than those. I mean, I'd put it more in a category maybe with the Ted movies. I only saw the first Ted, and that was a watchable, dumb movie. I laughed more at Ted, but only a few times.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Same with Ted 2. I saw...
Like the last comedy that I really enjoyed, the last comedy that I laughed my ass off at was What We Do in the Shadows. And this is nowhere near like that level of comedy, nor does it try to be. That tries to be like a really clever, really funny, and it's just absolutely hilarious. This movie is, to me, not absolutely hilarious whatsoever. It just doesn't suck. And you take stuff like, okay, Leslie Jones's character, what in the trailer looked like she was just going to be a token black girl, is actually like this really good take on the token black girl, where she's not the token black girl. She's educated. She's knowledgeable. She's an important, resourceful member of their team, you know? And I thought that was a really good idea in terms of what characters to include. In fact, all the characters, it does make a lot of sense, a lot of what they're doing. Man, a lot of cameos in this movie from famous people from other movies, or, you know, the original Ghostbusters each appear. That's not a spoiler. That's in all the news. You know that. And they don't play the original Ghostbusters. I think that probably would have made the storytelling a little bit better if there were original Ghostbusters, but whatever. I don't really particularly... I'm not so attached to Ghostbusters like I'm not attached to Ghostbusters. I think you can make other Ghostbuster movies and I just won't care. It doesn't affect me, like we just said.
And and they definitely hint at a sequel.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's actually
but
made by like one of the studio names that pops up in the beginning is like Ghostbuster Studios or something, and they are the production company that's going to be handling the franchising of this movie and the universe of the Ghostbusters, if you will, because there was talk of actually, you know, Sony or somebody wanted to make one starring Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, right? And that one is apparently still somewhere chugging along in Hollywood. That might actually be next before a sequel to this one comes out. I mean, you know, I think that this movie probably would have benefited if it didn't come out in the middle of July. I think it probably would have done better if it came out either in the fall or maybe like early spring when nothing's really coming out. Maybe. You know, that Fast and the Furious spot. Because in terms of how it did, I have here the box office mojo. The first weekend it did like, what was it, 45 million? It was as its opening, which for a movie that's supposed to be as big as this one, that's not really as big an opening as it should be getting. It came in second place behind the Pets movie, whatever the hell that is, the one that uses the System of a Down song that's about an orgy in the trailer, Pogo. Yeah, seriously, go watch the trailer for The Secret Lives of Pets, and guess what? They play a song about what they think is a song about jumping around, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's about an orgy. very explicitly about an orgy. I'm getting mad over this. Anyway, the movie has so far made about $94 million. It'll probably finish up about $120 million, which is like near its budget. This is just domestic, not worldwide. But it probably didn't perform anything like they expected it would.
Right. They probably expected like a 200, maybe 250 million.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's the film the moviegoers these days. They kind of don't go to the movies anymore. It's sometimes they do, granted, but I mean, my theater was packed. It was almost sold out. But what happens is the turnaround is so fast anymore that people are like, oh, fuck it. I have a big screen TV. I have a projector at home. I can just watch them here. And that's what they do now. So, I mean, the we know that the theater business is kind of taking a crap.
Right, and I mean, this type of movie is not necessarily what's going to do well in the theater, because if you bring up, like, I know we're going into some deep analysis here, everybody, but follow us along. The movies that do really well, like, are either crazy action movies, especially superhero movies, or movies.
For now.
Yeah, I'm saying this year, in the year 2016, children's movies, animated stuff does really well. The top 5 or so movies, let me just read them off. Finding Dory, Captain America, Deadpool, The Jungle Book, Zootopia, Batman vs. Superman, The Secret Lives of Pets. All these movies have made over $275 million.
Right.
They probably expected Ghostbusters to be higher up like that. And really, there's no reason that this movie couldn't have. I mean, there's reasons why it doesn't, and I think part of it is that it's kind of that sort of fun, dumb throwaway, where it doesn't try to be a big blockbuster movie. It kind of is, but it's like a smaller story.
I could tell you exactly why it didn't become as huge or as big as they expected it to.
What's that?
You ready for the reason?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because Kristen Wiig is not a big box office draw.
Right.
Neither are the rest of the cast. Minus Melissa McCarthy, but she already had her spurt, and it's starting to fade.
Right. Well, and her movies do about, 90 to 150 million.
But the whole cast, all 4 of them, were from SNL. Granted, same with the Ghostbusters, except for Ernie Hudson, but if you think of it, though, if you just get one that's not part of the SNL troupe, that's a bigger name and a bigger draw for people, that's all. That's all they needed.
Well, yeah, but SNL was a huge deal in 1984 compared to what it is now.
Compared to now, yeah, exactly. And then that's another reason why. People, Melissa McCarthy is not, I know, she's not SNL, but you can call her one, because she does the show a lot, and she is always doing movies with people from SNL.
Right, and her shtick is very close aligned to what they're doing.
Right, so it's one of those things that they could have maybe, if they had done something as far as it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. I get it, I know, but I'm just saying that if only they had gotten like a bigger female name, but it's very hard to find one that exists that would be able to do this, that because people just, they come and go, their celebrity is and stardom is kind of fading away as well. There are no more A-listers that last for decades anymore,
Well, yeah, I mean,
there ain't gonna be any more Hepburns or anything like that.
Well, yeah, there is, but there isn't, and especially with women, they tend to be going younger and burning out quicker, which is the way that Hollywood works. And
shame.
It's funny that Hollywood movies have to fight these little battles of sexism against fanboys over stuff like Ghostbusters, but at the same time, the actual bigger problems largely go unnoticed, like the fact that female directors pretty much don't exist.
But mark my words, though, if they do make a sequel, which I'm sure they're going to,
yeah,
it will do better. And the reason for it is because now people, I'm telling you, people have seen this, and people are commenting, and I'm sure that they're going to understand the mistakes that they had made, and they're going to make the next one better. And after it resonates with people and it just sits there for a little bit, once it comes out on home video, that's when there's going to be more of an interest into it. And when people give it more of a chance rather than just bitch about it. Look at Rob Zombie's Halloween. I haven't seen a bad thing about it for a while now because they finally latched onto it, as you said they would.
Right. Horror fans have finally stopped complaining en masse about the Halloween remakes and are just accepting it as a Halloween movie and going, you know what, the other ones were kind of worse.
And the funny thing is that
not all of
them. The girl I mentioned, Kate McKinnon, so many people are like loving her too. They are absolutely loving her. They're like, all the fanboy, the nerdy guys she's their crush. She's a lesbian, guys. But they're like really, really into her, and it's great because that's going to push her up a little bit further. Which I'm telling you, that woman can act in anything. You give her psycho woman in a horror movie, perfect. You give her funny, crazy girl, perfect. You give her cute, sexy, long-haired blonde girl, she's got the Elizabeth Banks thing. She's got it all.
Right, she's definitely become a minor cultural icon because of this,
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of at least notable, if nothing else. And I guess it shows you how people connected with the character. There was minor controversy that is completely stupid over there's a queef joke in the first 20 minutes of this movie made by that character.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, oh, I can't believe they made a queef joke. The original Ghostbusters has all sorts of fucking jokes in it. Dan, what's his name? Dan Aykroyd
gets a
gets orally raped by a ghost, okay? Like, that scene is in the movie. You may forget it because you're like, you haven't seen the movie since you were 8, and you're like, I don't remember that. That's because you didn't know what a blowjob was. Now you do. Go back and watch that scene and go, why did my mom and dad let me watch this when I was only 4 years old?
Right.
You'll have a lot of questions about what your parents were thinking. And now you'll go, well, I guess it's not so bad if my kid hears a queef joke. He won't understand it.
Right.
He'll just think it's a funnier fart joke. Because he's a kid.
Yeah.
And I do think, I will say on the other side of things, I do think that there are a lot of people who are overselling this movie as being some sort of groundbreaking, feminist tentpole, that it's really not. And I think that, like, to give this movie, like, some sort of crown is just a little absurd. Like, it's really, like I said, it's just a passable, dumb summer blockbuster. It's not this super great thing that people are trying to really put up on a pedestal. And I feel like that's like the other side of the backlash is that, like, once you get like the really terrible human beings who call themselves feminists involved and they want to like act like this is the greatest thing ever. Granted, maybe they're noticing that girls are actually being interested in the heroes of a movie for once. That's a good thing, I guess. But it's also not it's not a game changer that people might think it is, especially because it didn't do too well in the box office. And part of why it didn't do too well is part of the controversy surrounding it. It's buried beneath all these other summer movies. There's a lot of reasons why it didn't do well. But
I'm telling you, it's stardom.
I don't think that it's going to change anything, though. And I mean, even like we just said about the Evil Dead movie, we've seen this thing come along and change people's minds before. Where you could put a girl in that main part and it doesn't ruin the childhood you had.
Uh-huh. This is just my stupid opinion about comedy. I think the biggest issue with comedy these days is that improv has become a thing and it's overdone and they don't hone in the comedy anymore. They just think each other are funny.
Yep.
And they just constantly do it and over again, and you'll see it in tons of movies. I don't really see it too much in this, but what I'm saying is that happens too much, and movies get overblown and too long. Comedies are 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and by the time the movie's over, you you don't ever want to laugh again because you're not. It's not because you were laughing the whole time. You just were like, this is the. It's boring. It's boringness. I think that they just need to tighten their buttholes a little bit more and stop with the improvising, or just calm it down a little bit, because you know when they're improvising. You can see it and you know it and you can smell it. So that's kind of the thing. And I mean, you see it across the board. People that you never thought were funny are all of a sudden in comedy troupes, because it's like it's the new I'm a film director thing. So I think that's part of it too. Comedies these days are very, very hard to sell because they all just seem like everybody's got the same tone and the same voice and the same absurdity and the absurdist humor that's just not funny anymore. When Will Ferrell's stardom went away, absurdist humor went with it. So I think that they kind of have to hone it in and get the craft of comedy back by going back to what made people funny in the first place.
And part of that goes back to the Judd Apatow movies from about 10 years ago where, what was like 40-Year-Old Virgin is a good example of a movie where like they were able to take like good improv and like work it into the movie in jokes that people still remember 10 years later. I kind of never want to see that movie again, along with like any other movie from that time period. Like watching them now, you're just like, oh my god, I can't watch this. Knocked Up is another one. Or
they were dated 2 weeks after they came out.
Right, but I mean, at the time when you watch a movie like that, it does when it's done well, surprising dialogue can be like really good if you take the good ones, but it takes a lot of work to do that, and like sometimes it just sounds so flat. And like there's some of that in this movie, but it's not really something that it doesn't ruin everything.
No, I mean, but I really, really loved Ghostbusters movie. I absolutely can't wait to purchase it and watch it again when it comes out on Blu-ray. And one thing I will say, that the CGI in this definitely works for it. This is one of the first times in a long time where I have said that the CGI ghosts in this really work for the movie and give it almost like you were saying, like a whimsical or fantastical kind of thing.
They're very colorful.
Yeah, it's so neonish and just it's beautiful to look at. So I would say that. And again, Hemsworth, Jesus Christ.
Well, and I want to talk about the CGI a little because the CGI. What works about it is that it's very colorful. It's sort of unique looking. I mean, a lot of people compared it to the Scooby-Doo movie from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
And it all looks sort of like unique. It doesn't look like the stuff in the old movies where it was that sort of transparent people moving around like you're on the Haunted Mansion in Disney World. But in this movie, I think where it doesn't work is when it's moving against like people who are also on screen with the ghost, because there's something about it that looks too animated. Like when it's just a shot of the ghosts, it's really awesome. Like there's a part where they go to New York, Times Square in New York, and the ghosts like mask everything there to make it look like it's 1980s New York and it's all filthy and dirty, and ghosts from the history of New York start coming out, like a giant guy walking around as Uncle Sam on stilts, and pilgrims start running around and marauding, and that scene is really cool. But what I didn't like about that scene was that like everything suddenly and I know you say this about movies a lot when there's bad CGI, it becomes very much like a video game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a good video game. I mean like an arcade game where it's like, we gotta shoot the glowing red spot because that's the weak point, Really dumb video games. And I thought that it looked like it would be maybe fun to play as a video game. But I was watching a movie and I couldn't play it. So I couldn't shoot those guys. And I don't know. That was kind of out of nowhere. Like I would say the movie even nearly falls apart at that point of the movie in the last like quarter of the movie, where like people are like jumping around, doing flips, killing people. I think that they had something else in mind. I don't know what. There was also a large dance sequence taken out of the movie, which I can only imagine probably sucked. And
Yeah,
it was
and
probably a good idea to take it out.
And it was more than likely a timing issue.
Right.
And it probably slowed it to a crawl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, it like as soon as they like, there's an obvious point when it looks like they're going to line up for a dance sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh no, they're going to be dancing in this movie and singing.
But they kind of, well, I don't want to ruin it, but they kind of had a dance sequence during the credits, which I thought was really funny and enjoyable.
Right. Edited in from that scene.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than like the movie suddenly going like over the top and off the rails. Sometimes a horribly placed dance or musical scene can do that. Go look at the Matrix sequel, Matrix Reloaded, where it's just like 9 minutes of a rave and you're like, what is happening to my Matrix?
Yeah.
Anyway,
when it turned into a music video.
like
a really bad Nine Inch Nails music video.
Dude.
It turned into a Stabbing Westward music video by way of 2.
Right, and this would have turned into 13 going on 30. How did I make that reference? I've never seen that movie.
But they did a whole thriller thing in it.
Yeah, I know. Why do I know that?
Maybe because of your wife.
No, she doesn't watch crap like that. I have no idea why that knowledge is in my brain. But
know.
like that's exactly what would have happened here.
I saw the movie. I watched it.
But I mean, like I feel like it would have been just like an unnecessary thing. And sometimes, again, a ridiculous dance sequence can make a movie better. Like in 40-Year-Old Virgin at the end of that movie when they all start dancing around to Age of Aquarius.
Well, the one that started the thriller thing in 13 going on 30, you know who played that? The boss from that movie?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know Lord of the Rings? What's his name? Gollum? The one that played Gollum. What's his name?
Andy Serkis?
Yeah, he's the guy that plays the boss in 13 going on 30, which is still sort of tying it back. And it's thriller. Everybody knows thriller. Anyway,
so
I would definitely recommend Ghostbusters if you're in the mood for it. I have a couple of friends, one of which he has no interest in seeing it, and the other one was kind of on the fence. And when I told him I really enjoyed it, he's like, "Oh, maybe I'll go see it." I'm like, "Well, again, it's up to you. I can't make you like something." And he goes, "Well, bring this one." I'm like, "No, don't bring that piece of shit. He ain't gonna like it."
See, but I actually would take a different route. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. I think I could have not seen this movie and my life would have continued on its path.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, because, I mean, for
this
me...
is like the Cannibal Run.
Don't do it. What is it?
It's like Cannibal Run.
No, I like Cannibal Run a lot better.
That's a movie that they just didn't give a shit about. You know that, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is a lot like Cannonball Run because it's like, here's a cameo from Richard Petty for God knows what reason. Jackie Chan is in this movie for some reason. And, it goes from spot to spot, just like this movie. Like, Charles Dance is in this scene. The guy who plays Jared from Silicon Valley is in this scene.
Ed Begley Jr.
Ed Begley Jr. Why? For one scene. And it does
Andy Garcia.
It does it almost like skits. It goes from like one to the next, where I don't like it when movies do that. And you know what? Not just those, because it also does the original Ghostbusters each have a scene too where they appear for no reason or some reason. We don't know.
Fan service.
But, fan service is the reason. But I mean, plot-wise.
Oh, plot-wise, no. They're just
plot-wise, none of them could have been in this movie, and we would have been like, oh,
yeah, it's okay.
Whatever, They can't have Dan Aykroyd in for long, or he's going to start talking about 9/11 conspiracies for no reason. And they're like, look, this is a movie about ghosts, Dan Aykroyd.
There is a bust of Harold Ramis that's in it as well.
Yes, so everybody made it. And what's her name is in it?
Well, don't ruin that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that happens later.
No, I was talking about the other what's her name.
Oh, yeah, Annie Potts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, now we ruined it.
No, he definitely ruined.
We ruined something.
You
But
know,
like even that, like it's an unnecessary cameo where it's like if you were watching this movie and like you didn't know about the old movie or anything, you'd be like, who are all these other people who are in this movie? I'm just some dumb movie-going American. I don't know who any of these people are, you know?
you,
I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know who Charles Dance is.
you know what would
Tywin
have
Lannister.
I'm, and this is completely sounds ridiculous and terrible, and I'll probably regret saying it. But you know, if they wanted to do fan service, they should have, taken out the Ghostbuster cameo, the actors cameos throughout, and then during the big climax, they show up like as Ghostbusters, and then you just tie the whole franchise together.
Yeah, or like they could have been legendary Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
and
something like that.
nobody's
But
sure
they
what
didn't,
happened in the '80s.
And
or...
I'm kind of glad that they didn't though, because if you think about it, Ghostbusters, great solid movie. Ghostbusters 2, where was 3? It ain't happening. Why? Because of Ghostbusters 2. Okay, just think about it. Blues Brothers, great movie, beautiful, like one of the best comedies ever made. Blues Brothers 2000? No. There ain't going to be a 3. Why? Because Blues Brothers 2 was terrible. Caddyshack,
Right.
great movie. Another Cannonball Run movie. Let's just throw everything into this
Right.
and see what happens.
Or look at
Caddyshack 2.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Well, there
love
was a
Smokey
3.
and the Bandit. But when you get to 3, you just want to fucking
When you
hang
get
yourself.
Dude, I just rewatched 2 and I want to hang myself.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
like same with Caddyshack. You get to Caddyshack 2. There ain't no Caddyshack 3. Cannonball Run 2. There ain't no Cannonball Run 3. You see where I'm going with this. So if they remade Cannonball Run, which they sort of did, but with John Candy and them, which I can't remember the name of the movie, nobody really cared. But now that they did Ghostbusters with women, people, flip their shit. And it was going nowhere. And if you bring the original Ghostbusters back into this, it's just like beating a dead horse. And that's what Bill Murray was kind of getting at. They just went through the motions in Ghostbusters 2. The only one that really cared about it was Dan Aykroyd, in my opinion.
some money.
Yeah, but like you can see that Bill Murray was bored throughout the entire movie. He didn't want to be in it. It's all about the original Ghostbusters, good. 2, not. This one, let's just get rid of everything and start over. And I think they did a good job. So that's all. I'm done. I'm done with Ghostbusters. I'm done with Jack and Nick. That's it. We're done, Nick. I'm done. I'm quitting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quitting everything. No, I'm not. I'll be back again. So, Nick,
Yeah.
I have something to say.
Do you?
I do. I just got a thing from Twitter, and it says, "Hi there. What are you doing? Your buddy said to me that you are living close to me. I'm unsure about that. Do you have Snapchat? Add my Snapchat. Nick, baby MFC. This way we can easily chat, as well as make a video call face to face and realize each other." No, that was something else. Okay.
So that's really what it said?
That's really what it did.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway.
I enjoyed it.
Me too. Okay. So, let's wrap this show up. So that's the end. We have a really long show here, Nick.
For us, yeah, this is a little long, but whatever. We haven't been around for weeks. Y'all had to listen.
So we had to make up for lost time. So we don't know what we're doing next because we don't know what we're recording next. We're going to try to get into a good groove and a good schedule here.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do, we will keep you updated. Follow us on Twitter at Jack and Nick Show. Follow me at Jacob K666. Follow Nick at New Jersey Nick. That's where we mostly update. And also Facebook. We have a Facebook page, the Jack and Nick Horror Show on Facebook.
Right. And like we said, next episode we're going to be, hopefully, talking about, well, we're going to be doing some crazy idea that Jack had, which is to do horror love line. So if you
Yes.
have any love advice you'd like, ask two people who shouldn't answer it.
Yep. If you go to a con and you're like, should I approach a woman? Of course you should. But do it with taste and tact. There's my advice right there. It's that easy. It's gonna be atrocious, Nick. All right.
Yes.
Thank you very, very much for listening. Apologies to you guys, the listeners, and girls, the listeners, that I haven't been around, but at least you had Nick, who was able to do a solo show, and thank you for that, Nick. And
No problem.
I'm sorry, my job is terrible right now as far as timing, and hopefully it gets better, and we figure out little pockets like this that we can do stuff at. All right. Thank you, Nick.
Good night.
Good night.
Talk to you.